Yes, indeed, folks, you listen to Blue Please here on WoW Radio with myself, Total Biscuits, struggling through the swine flu. Oh, yes. We'll survive. We're about halfway through the show, and I haven't fallen over quite yet, so that's always a good thing. Vodka is something I could use right now. It's a good suggestion by Kopaklani. Right, so, we heard about the possibility of Worgen and Goblins. And people were up in arms and getting all excited and... may I ask you one question? Why? Why are we excited about this? Why are we thrilled? Do you understand? I certainly hope so. Guys, let me get this out here right now. New races are not real content. Period. Here's why. If indeed it is the case that Worgen and Goblins are new races within the expansion, which we can assume by now goes by the name of Cataclysm, and which will probably maybe be announced at BlizzCon, I'm willing to put money on that. Oh yeah, anyone willing to take that bet with me? Didn't think so. If that is indeed the case, then may I point this out. That's 2 new races that need 2 new 1 to 20 starting areas. That is 2 new races that most likely will require 2 new capital cities. That is 2 new races that will require all of the armor sets remade so that they will fit on them, a whole new set of animations and emotes, a whole new set of voice acting. Oh yes. A massive, massive selection of art assets. You know what that smells like to me? Sniff, sniff. Oh yes, that sounds to me like...
Not 1, but 2 Jormungandr worms.
Effort. It's another Smoke and Mirrors game, folks. I'm sorry, but it's exactly the same as what happened with the Blood Elves and the Draenei. I said this back in the day. The least exciting feature about TBC was the new races, and for some reason people went nuts. I'm like, oh my god, new races, yay! It's like, I get a new pony, and new hair ribbons, and... Oh god, I hate people like that. They make me sick. Seriously. What the hell are you guys doing? I mean, what you've got here is, if you ever develop a new race, you've got a disproportionate amount of development time and effort put into something which is relatively pointless. It's inert. It's neutral in terms of how it actually adds to the game. It doesn't do anything. It's not a new class, for instance. It doesn't shake up the very foundations of the game. Yes, I imagine it would add a few things for the Lorehounds and maybe for the RPers, but let's face it, they are, again, in a tiny minority. While I would like to support the RPers, this is not a good RP game. I'm sorry, it's not. It's not designed that way. And catering to that with a disproportionate amount of development time is a bad idea. I do not see the point. If they are adding new races, I really do not see the point, because think about what could be developed with that. So, right, you've got 2 new starting areas. Let's consider what could happen if you took the development time and the art assets that you were going to use on 2 new, brand new starting areas, yeah, which, bear in mind, will be at least Wrath of the Lich King quality in terms of questing, because they don't tend to do a step back. I mean, let's face it, the Bloodmist Isle and the Exodar and all the other places, Ghostlands and stuff like that, were pretty good. They were better than the average starting area, because of course it was TBC, questing had advanced quite a bit since the launch of WoW, thereby the starting areas were better. Now, if you were to take that effort and you were to throw it into some of the older starting areas, you could have some way more exciting stuff going on. You really could. You could invest that time in improving the old content that really desperately needs a touch of the Wrath class when it comes to quest design. Yeah, Wrath of the Lich King. One of the best things about Wrath, the quest design was top-notch. It was stellar. It got me interested in questing again, and I stand by that. I stand by saying that that was a real triumph with World of Warcraft, Wrath of the Lich King. What I don't stand by, of course, is the development of the new races with TBC, and I certainly would not stand by a repeat of that. I understand that something was required, the kind of poster child content, to release it and say, hey, look, new races, this is a very visual thing that we can get on the shelves, this is a very visual thing that we can get out to our promoters, we can get it on sites and stuff like that, and it will excite people that way. But I don't think that WoW is really going to need that anymore. I think we've passed the stage where we need shinies in order to attract people to the game. Game's quite popular these days. I don't think we really need that. Let's be realistic here. Now, of course, when I mentioned this in the thread on the WoW Europe forums, people QQ'd and bored and cried, as they tend to. Rather sad, really. Defended it by saying, oh, of course it's a new content. You know, you get to play this through again, blah, blah, blah. Right, I'm sorry. Playing the same stuff through again is not content. That's the point. Why would you want to play through it again? You already know that, say, hey, yes, the first 20 levels are going to be pretty good, but 20 to 60 is going to suck, 60 to 70 isn't going to be much better, and then after that, of course, you get to do Wrath content, which is decent. Why do you have to add new races for that? If you want to roll an alt, do you really think a new race is going to make you roll an alt? No. If you actually genuinely wanted to roll an alt, then you're going to do it anyway. And let's face it, you're rolling it out for a new class and a new play experience, not a new skin. You want a new skin? Let me tell you what you do. You do something that's against the terms of service. Oh yes, you do a model swap. I've seen this on YouTube. Some guy swapped a jungle troll model in and actually did leveling up as a jungle troll. You want to do that? Do it. Alternatively, if you want the ghetto solution, take a picture of a murloc, cut it out and stick it to your screen above your character. Or better yet, on top of your character. Hey look, you're leveling as a murloc, isn't it magical? Or, you know what, close your eyes and make-believe. Hey, I come from the school where we played Angband and Umoria and NetHack. Yeah, we played roguelikes. You didn't get to see a new skin. I was an @ sign. Yeah, that's what I was. I was a heroic @ sign, and I was slaying the uppercase V's and the lowercase W's. That's what I come from, the old school of RPG dungeon crawling. I don't need some shiny skin to make me roll an alt. There is no way I would roll an alt at this point in time, because the leveling is awful! Really bad! Yeah, it's past its best, let's face it. It was good at the time, and if you're new to MMOs, you can probably stomach it. I mean, that was me new to questing MMOs right there with World of Warcraft. New to the XP grind. Previous MMOs that I'd played didn't have an awful lot of that. Earth and Beyond, one example. That's something I had played. I'd also play PlanetSide. Again, not a level grind. And even then, being new to it, being fresh-faced to it all, and how well it was designed at the time, I still quit 6 times before level 60. 6 times! That is the tolerance that I had for questing. That is the tolerance I have for leveling up. So if you're going to tell me that you want to go and have me level an alt again, on the basis that I get to look like a freaking wolf on 2 legs, or a green gnome, then you have another thing coming. You could make the new race Octopus on a motorbike, and I still wouldn't play it. You could make it not 1 but 2 Jormungandr worms, I still wouldn't play it. It doesn't matter. And how many people are there like me? I'm willing to bet. Well, I don't have numbers for this, because to be honest, there isn't any way to get those numbers. But I'm willing to bet that over half of the WoW population does not have an alt above like level 10. Seriously. That they just play one character and one character alone, because they can't stomach the grind again. Maybe they've rolled the DK, because hey, the DK grind is a lot easier. All you've got to stomach is 60 to 68. And if you've managed 60 to 68, then hey, you're back in Wrath, which has good questing. We know that. We've accepted that. Now, the question was brought up in the debate. It's a non-issue. This is a non-debate, I must say. Anyone that pretends this is a debate, and if it shows up on WoW.com or whatever, and they pretend it's a debate, don't believe them. It's not a debate. This is not a debate. The debate was, would you rather have 1 class or 2 new races? This ain't a debate. One is content, one isn't. Yeah? Having a new class affects the entire fabric of the game. It affects the entire balance of both PvE and PvP. It affects group makeup across all levels. It does. That's what happens when you bring in a new class. You are leveling with these new guys, you are playing with these new guys who've got different abilities and different capabilities, and it shakes the entire game down to its very core. Now, it doesn't matter if you don't play that class. Obviously, it provides new content for people that do play the class, and yes, I can accept a 5-level span starting area for such a class. That's fine. But what it really benefits the game on, and you may argue that DKs have not done this well, and you may argue that DKs are imbalanced, and I would agree with you, to some respect there have been issues with the balance. but that doesn't mean that they were not meaningful content added to the game that actually really, genuinely changed and shook up the entire world. It did. It just plain did. And if you don't think that way, then I'm sorry, I can't help you. Because you're very silly. That's just the way it works, guys. Add a new class, see the entire thing shaken up. Shakes up PvP, because hey, you've got to adapt your team for the use of Death Knights, assuming you choose to use them. Alternatively, you have to adapt the fact that your team is going to be coming up against Death Knights. That counts more in Arena than it does in Battleground, but hey, still, you're going to have to count the fact that you're dealing with Death Knights there. You're going to have to count that you're dealing with Death Knights in a raid environment. You're going to have to make space in your raid for them. You may have a number of abilities and stuff that you can use with the Death Knight that are preferable to use in specific raid encounters. So that changes the way that raid encounters are designed because they have to account for the presence of the 10th class. So yes, that does change everything up. It shakes it up. Not a question about that. That is real content. Races aren't. I hate it. I absolutely hate it when people get taken in by this superficial rubbish. I wouldn't mind if all it was a new skin and that was it. Hey, new skin, new animations, fair enough. But it's not. It's so much more work than that. You will invariably have that new starting area. Look at all the work that was put into that. Look at the size of the freaking Silvermoon City and the Ghostlands. Look at the side of Exodar and Azure Mist Isle and Blood Mist Isle. Look at the size of those zones. And for what? For what? How many players have you really got that have actually leveled through those and have genuinely found some value there? How many? Very few. What you need is content that will actually keep the veterans playing. I don't understand why people seem to have this belief, and why Blizzard obviously originally had this belief with TBC, that adding Draenei and Blood Elves would make a damn bit of difference to the new players that came into the game. Who cares? They already had a choice of 8 races they could play anyway. They haven't played any of them, so hey, they're just as likely to pick Giant Cowman, or Little Gnome, or Undead, or Human, or Night Elf, or whatever, than they are to pick Space Goat or Blood Elf. They're just as likely, because they haven't played them before. The new content is all there waiting for them to experience. It's all brand new and shiny. It doesn't make a blind bit of difference for them. You know, with Wrath, Blizzard really seemed to understand that the addition of the main centerpiece of content with the expansion had to be aimed at existing players. Because you know what? Maintaining your subscriber base is way more important than having a revolving door. Because right now, WoW is not friendly to the new up-and-comer. It's the longest grind ever for the new up-and-coming player. It's got a ton of content which they will never, ever see. And by that, I mean all of the 60 raid instances, all of the 70 raid instances. Yeah, a ton of content that has actually been there and served its purpose for the existing player base. It's useless. It is useless for newer players. So they've got to make it to 80, and then they have to contend with a hostile environment whereby they have to get into the endgame content, and they're going to struggle to do that, because getting in there is going to be incredibly hard with the way that people are set up right now in this linear setup, the linear progression path, that they're on the bleeding edge of content. Even the crappy guilds are past Nax. Yeah? So they're not going to get to go into Nax or anything like that. Heck, good luck even running heroics. Even with this badge change. Because you want to know why? I'll tell you why. You think the badge change is good for new players because it gets people back into heroics? Think again. You want to think again? I certainly hope you want to think again, because I just told you to think again. Think again. Here's why. Ever heard the phrase LF3? Heroic Link Achievement. Oh, you will. If you haven't already, you will. It started in TBC with the gear. It started there, saying, hey, you need tier 6 equivalent gear for some highly inexplicable reason in order to do this rubbish. Hello? Is this thing on? I appear to be stuck inside the internet. Please send help. Well, that wasn't very nice, was it? Internet connection fell over. So where was I? Yes, I believe I was talking about the hostile nature of WoW to the new player at this point in time. So yes, back on with the rant, folks. Back on with this particular tirade. It is unfriendly. It is the most unfriendly point in history. And the reason that this badge change is not going to help out with newer players getting into heroics is because of linking achievements. This has happened since TBC, and it is continuing to happen to this very day. It is. People expect a certain level of play from the people they go to heroics with, and sometimes that level is incredibly unreasonable. For instance, I can't get into heroics right now because I don't have the epic achievement. Yes, I did just say.
Epic!
You wanna know why I don't have it? Because I wear the plush sash of Guzbar. Yeah, I've got tier 8.5 level gear and some best in slot and stuff like that. But I've got the plush sash of Guzbar. Thereby, I'm not going to get into heroic because I don't have the epic achievement. So pathetic. So what Blizzard needs to concentrate on right now is not adding new pretties, because that doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help the new players, it doesn't help the veterans. The veterans want a new class, or they want something new to play if they're gonna have to level through all this stuff again. And the new players, they need a better leveling experience and a better way to get to 60, and in this case get to 80, and get involved in the endgame content without running up against a socially engineered brick wall. It's entirely possible that's gonna happen. I'd put my money on it. So, in my opinion, no to new races. Absolutely not. There is not even a debate as to whether or not two races are better than one class or one way or the other. Classes content, races aren't. Simple as that. My name is Total Biscuit, and you're listening to Blue Please here on WoW Radio. You know what? I'm going to play some more Equilibrium because, hey, they have a song called Snuffle. Wonderful. I'll be right back after this, folks. Hopefully the internet will not fall over again. Enjoy.